Love. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? We have about 5 minutes. Any other thoughts that you want to share?
I have a quick question. What's your biggest tool to help like rid or calm the mom guilt?
Oh, to eliminate that guilt. I keep going back to that scripture. If you know of the Book of Mormon, I go in there and it's Enos, and he's praying and he's trying to have his guilt taken care of. And I love this scripture because he says that a voice came to him and said, Enos, you're forgiven, right? Like it's all good. And he said, and my guilt was swept away. And he just let it be swept away. He didn't go back and dig it up. He didn't go back and think, well, was that the right thing? Did I hear that right? But what about this one thing? He didn't question it. He just accepted it for what it was and said, great. And what did that do? That cleaned out that space for him to focus on others. Then he started praying for others, and it was beautiful. And he did not go back. So for the mom guilt, I would invite you to, first of all, get right with God and just say, I just would love a check-in with you. I just need to know how I'm doing here because I'm losing it. I'm feeling kind of like the weight of the world and, just thinking of the future success of these human beings. So just check in with God and just get a feel. Say, I would just love to know your thoughts and feelings about me right now as a mom. I would love to know it. And just know it's going to be loving and beautiful because that's what he is. He's loving and beautiful. We're harder on ourselves than he is. And then second, I would do what I did years ago was create a mom list. There have been times, even in the last couple of years, where I have literally gone into my journal on a tough day and I have said, you know what? I am a stinking awesome mom. You know why? And I start writing it down in the journal of why I am so awesome, because nobody else was telling me that. And I was like, this is a job where you don't get a whole lot of validation a lot of the time. So I would just start writing down, this is what I'm doing well with my kids. This is what I'm doing. This is what I do one-on-one times. I make them meals. I do yummy snacks that they love. I get their favorite things at the grocery store. I'm patient when they go on and on. Last night, we're sitting in family scripture study, and I kid you not, we're trying to do it. And one of my girls is wanting to get to bed. So she wants to do it quick. And she's the one that's leading it out. And then my little guy comes in, and you know what it's like when they're 9 and they have a story for everything. And it's all detailed. And it was a red card. No, it wasn't a red card. Let me go check in my room and see if it's a red card. And I can see my daughter is like, and she is ready to blow. She's just like, oh, and I'm breathing and I'm breathing. And he's taking his time and I'm nodding. And I'm like, I need you to get to the point, get to this story. Yeah, remember we're talking about this. Thank you so much. This is so great. And she looks over at me and then he turns and does something else. And she looks at me, she goes, how? And I said, I've been through seven of you guys. I get it. She was dying. She was so done with the detail. And she was like, just be quiet. She's like, I just want to tell him to shut up. But she was like, I can't say that, right? Because we don't say shut up in our house. So anyway, she was just like, oh, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment because in that moment, I saw her appreciation. And because I saw her appreciation, I appreciated me. And I went, yeah, I am patient. I don't rip people's eyeballs out because they're going on and on forever. I am actually kind and listening and loving. Wow, stellar for mom today. Wrote that in the journal. So anyway, something to consider, writing down a list of all the things you do well, because I guarantee most people are not going to make that list for you. And that is a really good thing to alleviate the mom guilt. Because when you start seeing the spreadsheet, you go, you're lucky you're alive. You are lucky that I have kept you fed and clothed because you require so much. I love my children. Let me just make a disclaimer. I love them fiercely. But being a mom is exhausting. That's just part of the package. So I think this mom guilt thing is first listing the things you do well. Then second, where's the guilt stemming from? What's the trigger? What's the hot button, right? I remember at one point I had a trigger for women that were awesome gourmet cooks. And I am not. I'm a B+er, down and dirty. Let's make the meal. Let's eat the meal, right? And so I had this trigger. And I knew that it was a thing, and I was kind of in an environment that was kind of encouraging that sort of feel. And I really had to get to the point of that guilt and go, wait a second. What's the thing that's important to me? Do I need to have a beautiful spread with matching plates and then 3 stacks of plates, and then they have all that, and it's pretty napkins and stuff? No. So I let go of the guilt, and we do paper plates daily. And then when it's like dinner or a nice thing, then we'll do regular plates, but it's paper plates, people. And it has saved my sanity. So I would go to the trigger of the guilt. Is it because you feel guilty because it's something you feel you should shift? Or is it something that someone else is making you feel guilty? Or are you comparing? And that's why I would get back to those people that are involved in the thing, what matters most to them. And if it's mostly you and your husband or you and your kids, get clear on what it is that's making you feel guilty, and is it even necessary? Guilt, appropriate guilt, is a great warning system of, hey, you need to spend more time with your kids, or hey, you need to slow down and take time for your health, or whatever it is. Good, appropriate guilt gives us a little warning and makes us feel like, I want to solve this. I want to do something about it. But inappropriate guilt just makes us feel shamed, makes us reach for chocolate bars, makes us be like forage in the kitchen, makes us just walk around and have people try to validate us. I'm a good mom, right? You think I'm a good mom, right? Right? That's inappropriate. So we can just get to the root of the guilt, and then we can clean it out and say, what is this? Is this just a prayer thing? Is this a new solution thing? Is this, I need to have a chat thing? What is this, so that we can kind of ameliorate that guilt? So that's just a few thoughts. Any thoughts from anyone else? Great question. We all have that question, right? We all have it, even when we think we're on top of it. And then here comes the guilt train coming back through the station.